Now we will talk about some interesting examples in nomenclature. Look at this compound. In this compound, because it does not have a functional group, it does not have double or single bonds, we have to go for the longest carbon chain. And when you take the longest carbon chain, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the longest chain is 8. So you are forced to go for this chain as the root name. When you put numbers, you have to put numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So numbering can be from either side because locants are in the same position. How do you number such cases? 1. Another interesting thing is, here you have got 2 locants. Both have 3 carbons each. So we are in a dilemma. What do you call them? The first thing, A has 3 carbons in a straight chain. So that naturally can be named as propyl. B also has 3 carbon, but we cannot call it propyl because it is not like that. Next, can you call it isopropyl? The word iso indicates trivial naming system, the old system. It is not IUPAC. So there is a small issue now. How do you name such things? For that, I will make a very simple logical explanation. I call this a simple locant, and therefore I call this a complex locant because I cannot call it as propyl. Simple are those like methyl, ethyl, propyl, etc. So you cannot call it, therefore you call it a complex locant. How do you name a complex locant? It is very easy. First, find out the carbon that is directly bonded to the main chain. Mark it as 1. Forget the main chain then. Think of this as a new compound where this is 1, and then find out the chains. One chain is this side, one chain is this side. In that, find out the longest chain. Here both are same number of carbons. I am going to take this as a chain. This it's a 2 carbon system. What will you call a 2 carbon system? Eth. Because it is a side chain, you call it ethyl. What kind of ethyl is it? A ethyl which has a methyl. So I have to write the methyl first. Where is the methyl in this chain? On the first carbon of this. Here you are having numbers, here also you will have numbers. So a complex is always put in a bracket. So now you have got 2 locants. One is propyl, the other is a methyl ethyl. You have to give numbers. From there it is a locant starting with P. Here the locant starts with M. So which has higher priority alphabetically? M. So numbering will be from this end. Accordingly, the name of the compound will be, it will be 4 in bracket 1 methyl ethyl at 5. You have a propyl. Because there are 8 carbons, it is oct. Because there is a single bond, octane. So this is how you name a complex locant. To summarize, I will again repeat, if there is certain locants which cannot be generally called as methyl, ethyl, propyl or hydroxy or cyano, etc., we call such locants as a complex locant. Whenever we are to name a complex locant, find out the first carbon directly bonded to the main chain. Assign it number 1. Subsequently, find out the longest chain in this new complex chain. Put numbers, then write the names as we do for a normal organic compound. Always remember to put it in brackets, because here you will have numbers and the main chain also you have numbers. To avoid that confusion, put it in a bracket. I am going to take 2-3 examples more. Here the longest chain, the root name chain should be that which contains the functional group. The functional group is OH. So, the longest chain must be this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What is it? It is a 6 carbon compound. What will we call a 6 carbon compound? 6 hex. Single bond ane. Because it is diol, I put E. Where are the diol? 1 and 6. Now, what is this? This again is a complex locant. How do we assign numbers for a complex locant? First carbon attached to the main chain, 1, then 2, then 3. What will we call a 3 carbon system? Prop. Because it is a locant, propyl. But you have to talk about a ene, so it cannot be propyl. So, we have to introduce that also here. So, it is prop 1 ene yl. It is prop 1 ene yl in a bracket. Where is it? On the third carbon. So, it is a prop 1 ene yl hexane 1,6 diol. Look at this compound, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This compound has 2 complex locants which are identical, 1, 2, 1, 2. Longest chain is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I can put number from any side. So, I have 1 methyl ethyl, that also is 1 methyl ethyl. When there are 2 complex locants which are same, in a methyl, if they were methyl ethyl, we would have called it diethyl, dimethyl, etc. In a complex locants, instead of using di-tri, we use the letters for 2 identical thing, bis, 3 it is tris, 4 is tetrakis, etc. So, 2 are there, so we call them as bis. Where are the 2 things? At 4, 5. So, it is 4, 5 bis, 1 methyl ethyl. How many carbons? 8. You call it oct. So, this is the usage. We do not use di, we go for bis in the case of a complex locant. So, you can try as many examples you want and then try to put the names. So, this is what we generally do for complex locants. So, complex locants should be used where you cannot name the compound as a general thing, as a methyl, ethyl, hydroxy, etc., etc. So, we go for that. Now, we will be talking about certain principles that we come across in organic chemistry, because organic chemistry is by and large a new unit for most of the students, because till 9th standard they generally study general chemistry. Only in 10th there is a small introduction to organic chemistry. So, I am going to talk about some fundamental things that is necessary for us to understand organic chemistry. First of all, the carbons. We have already said that in carbons, we have already said in carbon compounds, there can be sp, sp2, sp3 hybridization. Now, other than that, we are going to talk about some other types of carbon. If a carbon is bonded to only one more carbon, it is called a primary carbon. So, all these N carbons are primary carbons. If a carbon is directly bonded to two more carbons, it is a secondary carbon. If it is bonded to three more carbons, tertiary carbon. If it is bonded to four more carbons, it is called a quaternary carbon. So, this is a different type of carbons based on the number of carbons to which a carbon is bonded. Now, I am also going to introduce to you a couple of words that we use in organic chemistry. For example, there is an usage, an old usage where you will find in most of the compounds like isohexane or neoheptane. These are old names, trivial names, but you come across them at different places in a discussion. What do you mean by the word iso, neo, and how do you relate it to its structure? Iso always refers to similar. Here, these two carbons are isocarbons. That is, easy to remember, if the second carbon has a methyl group, it is called an iso. Similar type of carbons. Isohexane is an old name. Here hexane indicates 6 carbons in total. I have written iso, 4th carbon, 5th carbon, 6th carbon. So, isohexane in IUPAC refers to 2-methyl, 1 carbon less, pentane. So, it is 2-methyl pentane. Similarly, neo. What does neo mean? If the second carbon has 2 methyl groups, it refers to a neo arrangement. And here again the name heptane indicates the total number of carbons, not the straight chain. So, neo will be this. Total number of carbons 7. We have written 4, 5, 6, 7. So, what will be the IUPAC name? 2,2 dimethyl, it will be pentane. So, iso indicates second carbon as a methyl, neo indicates second carbon as 2-methyl. Iso-octane. Iso. Oct means 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Neopentane. Neo means second carbon has 2 carbons. Total number of carbons 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I am going to relate these two things as a single question. What is the total number of primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary carbon in A, isohexane, B isopentane, C neopentane, neooctane. I'll tell you a very easy method for this, very simple method. I'll show you a very easy method for calculating this. Iso means this grouping. So, iso will have one tertiary. So, iso means there will be one tertiary. Iso will have three ends. So, there will be three primary. Iso will not have a quaternary carbon. It is hexane means 6 carbon. We have talked about 3 plus 1 4. So, the remaining 2 will be secondary. So, this is iso. So, I'll write the structure 1 2 3 4 5 6. So, 3 primary, 1 tertiary, 2 secondary. So, it is very easy for us to find out the number of primary, secondary, tertiary carbons. It is easy. All you can deduce from the name itself, you do not have to even write the structure. Let us take up isopentane. Isopentane means iso has 1 tertiary, no quaternary, 3 primary, total number is 5 carbon. So, 3 plus 1 4, how many secondary? 1. Neo, the grouping is this. It will have a quaternary and it will not have a tertiary. So, in neo, quaternary 1, tertiary 0, there will be 4 primary, 4 plus 1 5, you got 5 carbons, so no secondary. Neooctane, 1 quaternary, no tertiary, 4 primary, 4 plus 1 5. Now, the remaining 3 will be secondary. So, it is a very easy exercise. From name, even without writing structures, we can come to a conclusion about the number of primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary carbons. This has to be always remembered. So, I think it is easy for you now to identify what iso means, what neo means, and you can also from the name itself deduce the total number of primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary carbons. Again, I will just conclude. Tertiary has iso has 1 tertiary, no quaternary, 3 primary, the remaining will be secondary. Neo has 1 quaternary, no tertiary, 4 primary, and the remaining will be secondary. So, this is how you come to your conclusion.